I have another fast writing hack for you. Character arc and story arc. That's what's on today's video. Hi, I'm Autumn Bardot, and here you will find quick tips, author tools, and hopefully even a little bit of inspiration. Today's fast tip, let me rephrase that. The tip is fast. Doing it, implementing it, is going to take time. But once I figured this out, it really helped me plot and figure out story arc and character. If you need more information on character arcs and story arcs, I'm going to put a link to my other videos in the description box below. Okay, you have figured out your plot, right? Maybe if you're a pantser, not so much. You need to figure out your character arc as well and integrate it into your story arc. Here's a graphic that I made that shows the story arc. You've seen this before, right? I changed it up just a little. I've added a few things. As you climb that rising action hill, your characters face obstacles. Lots of obstacles, right? It could be monsters, ex-husbands, paying the taxes, a killer, hardships, mishaps, whatever it may be. But that all gives you opportunity to show, not just show, to showcase your character's weaknesses. Because remember, your characters, they need weaknesses. More than one would be good. Maybe the obstacle is their weakness. Maybe they're too stubborn or too rash, too shy. Maybe the obstacle that they face highlights their weaknesses, thereby showing a weakness that perhaps the reader didn't know they had yet, and, was one of those hidden weaknesses that we all have. The weakness appears when the obstacle arrives. Here's an example. In Dragon Lady, the reader discovers just how overly protective the main character is about her children through the course of several setbacks, several obstacles. And one actually is a horrible situation that she actually creates herself because of her great love for her children, which isn't actually a weakness. It makes her endearing. I think a lot of weaknesses do make your characters endearing. But it is a definite weakness when that love for her child leads to the destruction of a fleet of boats and thousands of people. That's a weakness. Anyway, have as many setbacks or obstacles or those little divots that you see in the rising action as possible. I like a lot. It's a chance for you to get more conflict, to show more emotion, and that all leads to deeper, more nuanced characters. Next, your characters need to master or overcome that weakness at the top of the climax, right? Right before, right after, during, a little bit of all of it. The climax is where it all gathers like a perfect storm, right? Of conflict for the protagonist, and maybe even the antagonist as well. But this is where the protagonist, and also maybe the antagonist, learn about themselves in a way that either helps them succeed, in the case of the protagonist, a way that helps them succeed the enemy, right? Overcome the enemy, whoever that may be, or fall. In which case, and a lot of times, the antagonist learns something about himself and becomes just a little bit weak enough that the protagonist gets that edge and has some success. I use this chart to make sure I have enough setbacks, all those divots in the rising action. It all allows for proper character growth. And also the plot, therefore, becomes more character driven. You've got character arc and story arc seamlessly integrated. That's a win-win. And each obstacle, each of those divots along the way is another building block where the character learns something about themselves and their weaknesses. Because knowing you have a weakness or suspecting you have a weakness means your character can try to fix it, avoid it, argue about it, or, well, you get the picture. Maybe just try to tackle it head on. Not successfully though, not till you're at the top of that pinnacle. But what about the character's strengths in all of those divots? Where are the character's strengths? They need those too. They can't just be full of weaknesses. This is why I love writing so much, because you, the author, get to play and manipulate and create all of that. You get to take the strengths and the weaknesses and craft this fabulous character. So maybe they use one of their strengths to kind of get out of or around that obstacle. Maybe they use the strength of others to get or overcome that obstacle along the rising action. Maybe it's both. The thing I don't really like that the plot arc really doesn't show in that rising action is that it's not smooth. It ain't straight. It looks a lot more like this. Be kind. My infographic skills are minimal at best. But I think when you see it this way, you get a sense of, oh, I added maybe, I don't know how many I added in. I didn't count them. But you can add in as many as you want. One thing, make sure the obstacles that your character faces get worse as they climb that rising action hill. And your character's weaknesses need either to be more difficult for them to master or control, or more annoying maybe to others. Amp up the tension, amp up the conflict. So, what divots or obstacles are you going to create for your characters along that rising action hill? What are you going to have them overcome and understand about themselves, become better people right at that pinnacle, right at that climax? Next week, I'm going to have another fast tip about rising action. If you like this content, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe. That really helps with the algorithms and getting my content out there. And I would love, love, love if you would share. That would be amazing. I don't think I've ever asked that except for the last video. And I'm like, sharing is good. Also, I have some cool news. There will be lots of great in-depth information on character arc and characters coming January 2022. I'm writing a master's class on leveling up with character arcs and archetypes and how powerful and purposeful they can be. You'll be able to access the class through the Historical Fiction Company, and I will put a link to their website below, but it's not up there yet. January 2022. Still working on it. I'll have more information on that class later as well. But for now, dream, create, and embrace. Bye-bye.